everyone, my name is Sydney Brown, financial coach and money matriarch in the making. This is a space for women who want to lead their finances with confidence and clarity. Whether you're managing money on your own or for your family, this channel is about financial leadership, making empowered financial decisions, creating a life of financial security without sacrificing your well-being. We don't do shame here. This channel is about strategy. Because you work too hard to feel financially stuck. If you're ready to take control of your money and your future, hit subscribe and let's get started. Okay, so in previous videos, I've been talking a lot about Money Matriarch, Money Matriarch, Money Matriarch, Money Matriarch. But what the heck is a Money Matriarch anyway? And how do I get there? And what are you talking about, girl? Okay, so in today's video, my main objective is to clarify what exactly is a Money Matriarch, how does one become a Money Matriarch, and like give some pillars, some steps, give you like a path to get there, because I feel like it's not about marital status, but what is it about? We've been talking about what it isn't, but what is it? What is it really? What is it? Also, I wanted to make this video because while I feel like I am on my own personal journey with this as well, there's things that I have learned along the way. There's things that I'm still working on. And at first I was gonna make this 2 videos, but I realized in the process of working on the whole thing that it's really just stages of the entire process. So I decided to make it 1 video. I hope that it's still clear as 1 video. And if we end up having questions or it's too long, then we can always separate it into 2 videos later. The way that I structured this video is so that there are 7 principles of the Money Matriarchy. Okay, so first and foremost, there are 3 stages to becoming a Money Matriarch. The first is the YOLO spender. So that's just the girl that's balling out. She has no care. And then the second is the money manager. And then the third is the money matriarch. So let's get into it. The first step, or the first pillar, is intentionality. So the YOLO spender, when it comes to intentionality, she does not have intention. She is someone who is just balling out. She has no clear purpose for her money. She spends on what she feels. She's very emotionally driven when it comes to her money. She's often reacting to the moment and not specifically planning for something intentionally. She has not considered the big picture when creating her budget. She likely doesn't even have a budget. She may have made one before, but she doesn't have it written on paper. It's probably in her head. She is likely living paycheck to paycheck and has no plan. So let's move on to step 2. Stage 2 is, with intentionality, is the money manager. The money manager, when it comes to intentionality, she is beginning to make more intentional decisions when it comes to her money. She may have a handle of the basics of budgeting, but she doesn't have it fully figured out yet. She may track her expenses and set goals, but it's more around the day-to-day money management of her money and not about a long-term vision. She may have a handle on her budgeting app, and she may have a handle around the management of her money in a tactical and practical way, but she doesn't have she's not willing to take any risks when it comes to her money because she doesn't have a long-term plan. So that brings us to the next stage, which is the money matriarch. A money matriarch leads with intention. She starts with the end in mind, and she sees long term where she's going, and so she allows that to help guide her plan. She sets financial goals that reflect her values. Every dollar has a job, whether it is pouring into her family, or it is pouring into her community, or it is investing or saving or set aside for the next vacation. Every dollar that she saves or spends has a goal or a plan or a vision, and she is very intentional about every aspect of her money. So that brings us to principle number 2. A money matriarch ultimately is a conscious consumer. So when we start with the YOLO spender, she has no thought about conscious consumerism whatsoever. The YOLO spender spends impulsively without considering the impact her choices will have on others. She prioritizes convenience over values. And once again, she's just very emotionally driven. And that brings us to step 2, which is the money manager. The money manager, when it comes to conscious consumerism, she actively buys cheap things. I don't think she understands the long-term impacts of her choices, from creating demand for cheap labor and buying low-cost items that ultimately harm the environment and other have long-term costs. Finally, the 3rd stage would be the money matriarch. She makes every dollar count by spending with impact. She chooses to spend money on businesses and investments that align with her long-term values and goals. For example, she may choose to spend her money at a Black business, or she may choose to prioritize value or over cheap. Okay, so that brings us to our next principle, which is leadership. So the YOLO spender actively avoids financial responsibility whatsoever. She wants to make her impulsive decisions, and she doesn't care how they impact others. And then the next person would be the money manager. The money manager takes responsibility for her own financial decisions, but she does not want to share that information with other people, and she isn't necessarily aware of her circle of influence. And finally, the money matriarch, she cares about her community, she cares about other people, she is actively looking for ways to lead others when it comes to financial empowerment. And ultimately, she leads by example. Okay, so the next up would be visionary. When it comes to visionary, the YOLO spender has no vision for her money. She focuses on the choices of today, and she's trying to maximize her money for right now, because there's no time like the present, which is ultimately why I named her the YOLO spender, because you only live once. She's trying to live it her best today, and she has no care about tomorrow. So that brings me to the money manager. So the money manager has some understanding of a vision for the future, but she's more present focused. So the money manager is more focused on management of the money, if you will, stabilizing her current situation, in terms of she may be focused on paying off past debts from things that past decisions she may have made in her YOLO spending days. Or she may be focused on the present and isn't able to get a clear vision yet for what could be or what the future could look like. The focus is mainly on stabilizing the present circumstances and tactically, practically dishing out the money, like in terms of where things should be going. She's not really planning ahead for the future. And then finally, the money matriarch, she has a clear plan for the future. She is working towards things like investments, and also things like rental properties maybe, or she is looking for ways to create long-term wealth and not just manage the money she has well. Okay, legacy focused. The YOLO spender is not legacy focused at all. She doesn't care about how her choices affect future generations. She spends for her personal enjoyment. And then when we move to the money manager, she may have considered the future in terms of retirement, but she hasn't really spent much time thinking about like what could be in the future. She's generally more focused on personal financial security rather than a long-term legacy-focused plan. She's not necessarily concerned about leaving a lasting legacy to her children or her community. But then finally, the money matriarch, she is legacy focused. She cares about how her community could be impacted by her managing her money well. And she ultimately wants to ensure her family's future. Okay, so community oriented. The next principle is community oriented. The YOLO spender spends money on convenience or status without thinking about how it might impact her community. She really doesn't care who benefits from her money, as compared to the money manager, who may have some understanding of how her decisions might impact her community, but she's more interested in her own personal security than how it might impact her community or her circle of influence. As compared to the money matriarch, who cares about her community and how her money affects her community. She's focused on spending locally and interested in where her money is going and how it might impact her circle. She specifically wants to uplift others with her money and empower her community with her spending decisions. Lifelong learning is the next principle. The YOLO spender avoids learning more about her money. She believes that financial success is based on luck or circumstances, and she just wasn't born into the right family. She is stuck in her bad habits, and she is not on her way to getting out of them. So next would be the money manager. She is learning more about financial literacy, but she may not apply those principles to her own situation, or she may read the book or watch the podcast or watch the YouTube video or listen to the podcast. She might not necessarily apply the information, but she knows where to find it, and she might know what some of the right things to do are, but maybe hasn't put them into practice. As compared to the money matriarch, who continuously seeks out new information about how to improve her money. Not only that, she's sharing that information with others, and she's applying those principles to her own situation as they become relevant. Well-being is the next principle, and the YOLO spender has no care about her well-being. She's more focused on instant gratification. She's not really interested in wellness or improving her wellness. She may sacrifice her health for temporary pleasures. Next up would be the money manager. She is interested in self-care practices, but she has a hard time regularly incorporating them into her situation. So she may not have self-care regularly integrated into her financial plan. She's interested in them and she may splurge on them from time to time, but it's not embedded into the system. Finally, the money matriarch, she is prioritizing her well-being, and she has it embedded into the framework of her plan. She sees wellness as important, and she cares about how it impacts her long-term financial success. She's able to balance wealth building with emotional, physical, and holistic wellness. Two more. So the last two are collaborative decision making. So both the YOLO spender and the money manager may be at the same place when it comes to collaborative decision making. Both the money manager and the YOLO spender tend to make financial decisions independently. They may engage in basic discussions about financial planning within their household, but they may not take it any further than themselves. So being a money matriarch means that it's about you and at least one other person. So that could be your child, that could be your spouse, that could be your family member, your mother, your anyone. It just means that you are making collaborative financial decisions, not just for yourself, but for someone else. And then finally, communication. A money manager and a YOLO spender may struggle with communication. They may not articulate their ideas clearly. They may struggle to get people on board with their vision. Whereas a money matriarch, she has a clear vision for her future and her family, and she's able to get those people on board with where she's going with it. So feels like the money matriarch just has it all figured out. Okay, so there you have it. I hope it makes it more clear what it is to be a money matriarch as compared to a YOLO spender or money manager. And I think the distinction has been made clear, but just to summarize, the YOLO spender is more emotionally driven. The money manager is more present focused than she is future focused. She may have her current situation figured out, but she doesn't have a clear vision for where she's going. And then finally, the money matriarch is utilizing her money not just for herself, but for one other person, and she has a clear vision for the future and where she's going. Let me know in the comments, which stage do you feel like you are most aligned with at your current place, and what is one thing you can do to try to improve on where you are, trying to take one step closer to where you want to be. Like this video if you found the transformation story helpful. Make sure that you subscribe so you never miss another video. So make sure you subscribe to the Wealth and Wellness Weekly. And this week, what I think I'm gonna do, I haven't fully decided yet, is I think I am going to add one thing that at each stage and each quality someone could do to try to get 1% better. So for example, if you're a YOLO spender, if you start tracking and building awareness for where you currently are, that can help you improve by 1% in the intentionality category, and so on and so forth. So bye!